Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody this morning?
Oh, terrific.
Wonderful.
Just this
Today,
kind of awesome.
We're going to do cool stuff, sort of, but you know me and Apple stuff, so I'm going to do my best to get it to work the way I want it to work.
I can't believe you.
Did you guys know that we had Apple TV on the big screen here?
No.
And then with your fancy dancy iPad, or in this case, my daughter's, you can connect your iPad right to, maybe, bear with me. Hold on. Ta-da! You can connect your iPad right to the big screen TV. So if you were, for instance, have a presentation or want to show them something cool like CBX here, you can do this. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to get in, how to use it. We're going to do some basic run through and try to give you an idea of how to best use this tool. This is a tool that is only available for Coldwell Banker. It was developed for Coldwell Banker. It only works for Coldwell Banker, and it's being rolled out across the country still. So you can see for us, because we are company owned, NRT. Go ahead.
Are you going to teach us how to connect our iPad to that?
Sure,
Right.
I can show you how to do that. All right, so when you come in, hold on, let me get back. When you come in, you flick up on your thing from the bottom.
Yeah.
This is very high tech, right? And you click on this right here, and it will say iPad. You click on Apple TV and make sure you slide the mirroring thing.
Okay.
And then it will pop up on the screen just like that. Now, interestingly enough, if you happen to turn the iPad the other way, well, it's not doing it now, of course, it will go either direction. So if you happen to be working in an app that works that way, it'll make it that size, but I'm going to make it go that way so that you can see. Bonus points. Does anyone know who that is?
Thor.
Thor, right? Okay, sorry. My daughter was like, are they going to make fun of me because of my background? I'm like, no, they're not going to make fun of me. It's Thor. All right, so let's get into CBX. So to install CBX, first step, you go to either your Apple App Store, or of course, all of you Android users can go right on. You go right on into, on the computer, you just go to play.google.com and you can just search CBX. Shockingly enough, there's not a lot of other things out there that are CBX, so you can find it. I did install it on my phone because any Android device you can, and you might think, wow, that's a really big screen. Yes, it is a really big screen, but if you notice, it's not big enough for CBX. CBX is designed to work on a tablet size piece. Now, this is a mini tablet, so that's big enough, but it is designed to work on something this size or bigger. It doesn't work on the big smartphones very effectively, because at least on mine, I can't even get to the section, like it's down below the screen, the part that I have to click. So, what the?
That's
all right, so once you get the app installed, now, the other thing, we've talked about two operating systems, right? What are they?
Apple and Google? Or no, what?
Apple and Google, yes, technically. Android and iOS. And what would be the third option?
Microsoft?
Microsoft. Because those of you that have a Windows-based tablet or device of some sort, you are welcome to install this on there also. Now, the only trick is that you have to have Windows 10 installed because it is a Windows 10 app, right? And you've got that to work on yours?
It is, so you can use Windows 8 if you have a Slate, or a Surface rather.
Oh,
Surface,
really?
Yeah, in Windows, there were some problems logging in with Windows 10, but they fixed that now. That's been corrected.
Okay.
But other than
So you
that,
did find it in Windows 8?
I found it, I put Windows 10 on and I found it in the store and downloaded it.
Right, but you had Windows 10 on.
Yeah.
When I went to install it with my Windows 8 machine, it wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay.
It said I needed to upgrade to 10.
All right.
Which, at the moment, we are...
Don't do that here in our office because you can't there's no printer drivers
You
for
won't be able to print
copiers. You won't be able to print.
because the printer drivers haven't been updated, and I'm sure that's just the beginning of things that don't work quite right. Just because, you know, it's a totally different operating system. And they skip 9. There's, anyway. All right, so what happens if your tablet times out and it doesn't connect? This is the problem with Apple TV. You have to tell it to connect again, and then it'll come back. Okay. So you do always have to keep your tablet up and awake, or else it loses its connection completely. All right, so since we are NRT, you have to use the city, you know, our domain name. So similar to like when you connect to the Wi-Fi here in the office with a device, which, oh, by the way, you do have to connect your device to the Wi-Fi in the office in order to use the Apple TV, okay? It has to be on the same network. You can't be using your, you know, cell data connection and try to connect to this because it can't see it. It won't know it's there. Otherwise, I could project on Apple TVs all over the world. Anyway, so use ATL /, you know, top to bottom, back to front. Everybody got that? Mm-hmm. On the Apple device, of course, because you can't, you know, like on the Androids, you can click and just put a symbol in. On this, you got to click through like 3 screens to get to that actual symbol. It's not on the first symbol screen, it's on the second symbol screen. I know, just as much as I can, I'm slamming on Apple. Then first dot last name, and then your password is the password for the network. Not your NRT password, but the network password. Okay, so the same one you used to get in your email, the wireless, or onto a computer in the office. All right. The nice thing is if you leave the Remember Me on here, see how cool this would be if this was touchscreen too, and it just was anyway. And so then you just hit log in. Give it 1 second.
So you can't do CBX on your computer?
You cannot. You can if you have Windows 10.
But aren't they saying we don't?
So you're running it through your.
I'm running it through the iPad.
Okay.
Right. So you have to, it's really designed to run on a tablet format.
Okay.
So either an iPad, a Slate, or a tablet, which is usually an Android.
Because the drivers are
Same thing I have as a tablet.
printers are not loaded.
So the Windows 10 thing, yes. So we'll reiterate. At the moment, Windows 10 will cause you issues in the office. Because, for instance, simple things like you can't print to the copiers because there are no Windows 10 drivers yet for those copiers. And so, you know, I mean, it just came out. Give it a month, and it'll probably have all that fixed. But, you know, it's a hit or miss issue, whether you want to do it or not. Okay, so this is pretty simple. We are going to watch the tutorial real quick. Let's see how this works. Because I mean, it's pretty all-encompassing.
Welcome to this tour of CBX, Coldwell Banker's exclusive listing experience, specifically designed to enhance your listing presentation, give sellers a better
Turn it around, Brett.
capable to sell their home. CBX uses public and private data about a seller's neighborhood and/or community to provide a dynamic perspective of buyer and market trends, thereby helping you inform your clients on key variables such as price, buyer profiles, and where potential buyers might come from. Like every home, every buyer is unique. This information can be a helpful marketing tool. Now, let's take a look around CBX. Once you've logged in using your secure Coldwell Banker credentials, you can further personalize the CBX experience so your clients know it's your expertise that they'll need to best market their property. You can also authenticate your LinkedIn profile, which will provide you additional employment data designed to assist you in telling your unique listing story. All saved listing profiles will appear here. You can edit existing listing profiles or create a new one. Simply tap here. You only need to have the most basic information to begin creating a presentation in CBX. Start with the seller's street address and zip code. Everything else can be added later. You can make an impact with a photo of the property, even one you've just snapped with your tablet or phone. Beds, baths, and square footage information are all easily entered. For developing your CMA, you can look at the AVM from the National Association of Realtors RPR widget, which is automatically loaded here and optional. But remember, the choice is yours. You can use RPR's suggested base list price, or start with another price that you develop using your own CMA process. This is your listing story. CBX is simply here to help you make it as persuasive as it can be. This is the price adjustment section, where you can showcase your local expertise by displaying the details of how you arrived at the home value. Values can be either positive or negative adjustments, providing you a great place to tell your pricing story. For example, let's say this home is in a scenic location. You'll want to adjust the suggested list price for that unique aspect of the home by adding view of the canyon. Your suggested list price automatically recalculates based on the adjustments you've entered. Now that you have your basic listing profile, the fun begins. Let's explore buyer and market data, which will be the foundation for a compelling story. Let's look at the information available to develop a buyer profile. Here, you can give your sellers a clearer picture of who their buyer might be by customizing the demographic profile of their community with real-time data provided by Onboard Informatics, Google, Esri Research, LeadRouter, and Experian. Each of these unique data points is based on your seller's neighborhood or zip code. Evaluate which data points enhance your listing story and tap them to add to your presentation. Combined, they can tell a powerful story about the neighborhood and the potential buyer profile. From here, take your selected profile and map it in relation to areas where buyers may be coming from. Map this buyer profile uses an algorithm developed exclusively by Coldwell Banker to conduct a real-time comparison of your profile with every town in the most popular migration counties. Then, it will highlight the towns which have the highest concentration of your specific target audience. With this powerful feature, you have a new dynamic tool to share even more intelligence with your clients about their potential buyers and where they may come from. Review and add even more zip code information with the CB Intelligence section. You'll get another edge on the competition that's entirely at your control. CB Intelligence gleans relevant real estate, homeownership, and local economic data from our mix of sources and offers you the options to pick those most relevant to your listing story. Here is where you can pull in valuable LinkedIn data. Just sign into your LinkedIn account if you haven't already, and you can display the largest hiring employers and open jobs in the area according to LinkedIn. With map layers, we provide additional data points, as well as an impressive visualization to bring your story to life. Preview the maps before you select, and then tap the button for each map you'd like to share with your seller. Coldwell Banker has partnered with Esri Research to give you access to their powerful Tapestry market segmentation data, which classifies U.S. residential neighborhoods into 67 unique segments based on demographic and socioeconomic characteristics. This information gives you and your clients a deeper understanding of who your potential buyers are and what interests them. Map data points, combined with Esri Tapestry market segmentation, provide you unique and specific market data, combined with amazing visualization to tell your listing story like never before. And with this story, you can take it practically anywhere. It will always be on your device, but you can also export it to either a PDF, which can easily be printed or given as a digital leave behind, or as a JPEG file, which can be inserted into other documents or listing presentation tools that you're already using. It's nice to have options. And of course, the CBX app can also be used to present the full experience to sellers. Let's take a quick preview of the experience that we've made here. As you can see, only the selections you've made in admin mode will be included in your CBX export, giving you complete control over the information being shared. See a change you want to make as you're reviewing? You can always edit the details here. That's it. When you're done, just click the button. Easy, simple, and loaded with power. With CBX, the power of Coldwell Banker is at your touch. CBX, the power to get to yes.
All right, so everybody knows how to do it, right?
Sure.
I mean, 5 minutes of, I might have to watch that. That's the second time I watched it. I actually got a couple more things out of that. So I put myself in just to show you what it would look like. And if you click on launch, it goes through and it talks about the different things. So it's going to start with, you know, the house and what that is. Did I not? Oh, I don't think I've marked any of that. Let's edit. Let's go in and edit. All right, so we're in here. We go under buyer profile, and we can mark a bunch of things, whatever. Because I clicked my, oh, and this is the local. Now, that's the only thing that's a little goofy is it always pulls from the counties moving to that county. So it doesn't necessarily show what's happening in the county. Like if somebody were to move within the county, that's a different setup. I don't know why. And then if we do the CB intelligence, we can show all of these, and I can just click them all. And then, oops, and then the map layers. And so these are all the map layers. And then these, oh, where did my, oops. Oh, there they are. These are the, because my LinkedIn is connected, is the number of open jobs within 25 miles and the largest employer with open jobs that'll show up. Okay? Is everybody good with that? So I click done, save and exit, because you want it to be ready so that when you go to give the presentation, you can just launch it and have it there, right? And so now, this is the house in question. Now I used the RPR thing to tell me what the house is worth. I wish. That would work. You can make that one go small. You can see the recently sold, lots of recently sold stuff in my neighborhood, just because stuff doesn't stay on the market very long in my neighborhood. Then a few for sales in and around out in the area. And I can, move the map to look at other for sales that are nearby. I can click on them and see what they look like. I can see the pending, these are the for rent ones, the orange. See how the orange is the for rent? So that you can click around and show those. So you can get a kind of a basic general idea, but you'll notice that, a lot of them, I just did that one, they have square footage or they don't, and it's just a question of which ones. So you could use this to show kind of visually from a what's nearby. I could show a seller, okay, if I'm trying to sell this house, well, I mean, I've had a lot of sales in the neighborhood and there's not a lot of actives in this particular neighborhood. That neighborhood goes pretty much what you see on the screen.
How far back did the solds go? How far back did the solds go?
I'm not sure
Can you tell
actually.
that?
It doesn't give you an option to
No, it
adjust that,
doesn't.
I don't think.
It doesn't.
No,
You
it's
don't,
just
you don't know
recent.
how long it's been. You
Yeah.
have to go find that listing to see.
Yeah. But I can't imagine it's that far, because why would you?
Right, that's why I
Want.
wondered, you wouldn't have like 3 years back, it would be like within the last 6 months, 12 months maybe.
And it does weird things, as all computer things do. These 3 dots are all the same house, all the same sale. Why it recorded it 3 times and showed up, I don't know.
Because it goes back
Because
more than 1
nothing's
year.
perfect. No, I mean it's the same.
Oh,
I think it's the exact same. Oh no, there's 2 of them. Well, maybe not. No, it is going back.
it's 3 different houses.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's 3
Oh.
different houses.
All right. I thought they were the same. I was clicking the same button. And so, you can pop around to that. Okay, so that's the map section. That shows you the map. Then you can click over on the buyer profile, and it will tell you the information that you selected, which I selected all of them. And so it says the median age of the residents. And this is the zip code area where we are. The graduate degrees with children and population, median commutes 24 minutes, household incomes, mortgage debt. You like how that's, 12% increase in residents' income. And then it tells you these are the 3 areas. And it also tells you that in the last 14 days, 640 people have submitted inquiries on Coldwell Banker for this zip code. Which is, I don't know if that's high or
It's a
low.
fun fact.
It's a fun fact, right? It makes it look like you really know what you're talking about. It's a good thing. And then it can tell you, these are the the designations out of that group as you saw them with the different colored map areas. And so we're 14% urban chic, 13.5% Emerald City, and 10% dorms to diplomas.
Yeah.
Anybody know what all those are? You can click the little blue.
Brick road.
You can click the little blue eye next to it, and it will tell you. So urban chic is typically married couples, single family, professionals that live a sophisticated, exclusive lifestyle. Half of all households are occupied by married couples, families, and about 30% are singles. These are busy, well-connected, and well-educated consumers, avid readers and moviegoers, environmentally active, and financially stable. This market is a bit older with a median age of almost 43 and growing slowly but steadily.
Married.
So here's a question. If let's just say that 50% of it was urban chic, what would that tell you? Who's your most probable buyer?
Urban chic.
Urban chic, right? So you got to figure out where the rest of them are. Let's go to the Emerald City because I'm curious as to what that is. Emerald City's denizens live in lower density neighborhoods of urban areas throughout the country. Young and mobile, they are more likely to rent. Well-educated and well-employed, half have a college degree and a professional occupation. Income close to the U.S. median income primarily from wages and self-employment. Group is highly connected, using the internet for entertainment and making environmentally friendly purchases. Long hours on the internet are balanced with time at the gym. Many embrace the foodie culture and enjoy cooking adventurous meals using local and organic foods. Music and art are major sources of enjoyment. They travel frequently, both personally and for business. And we can guess what dorms to diplomas is, right?
Are those canned responses?
Yes. These are, I would imagine that no matter what, if dorms to diplomas comes up, this is what it always says.
Well, that's a
right.
Emerald City.
But there's a ton of, and so what they're doing is they're saying in this zip code, this is the percentages of the highest percentage. That obviously doesn't add up to 100, so there are others, but these are the highest groups of people that are in the area. Okay?
So you could have more than 3.
I think it only gives you your top 3, and there are more than 3.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, if you had,
because if you add this up, you got 30, 40. You don't even have 50% of the population mapped in those 3 categories.
But if there was another one that was in the same ballpark of say
It might.
12%, you come up with 4.
I don't know. I think it only comes up with 3, but I couldn't tell you. That's a detail. So now if we click this map, this buyer profile, you'll see that it maps the buyer profile. And you can zoom in and do just all those sorts of things that you would normally do on a map. And you can see our house and the subject property right here in the middle. This one is a little bit not as intuitive to read, but think about it. This is not houses that are for sale or for rent. These are cities or locations or towns or whatever, neighborhoods, that are responding to our buyer profile. So as we said, our buyer profile is this. These are all the cities in the nearby counties because these 3 counties are the largest counties moving people into into DeKalb County.
Is that pulling some of that information from the 642 where we get inquiries on CB?
Yes.
That's where that's coming from?
It's coming from like 10 different sources. So it's trying to merge all that together. So what you might think, do we think the orange one is a good or a bad?
Couldn't think of the percentages.
So if you look, the orange one is only a 36.1% match from Lilburn. So the chances of someone from Lilburn buying my house is less than, for instance, someone from Alpharetta, which is about a 55% chance. Now you might say, well, why would somebody from Alpharetta buy my house?
Shorter.
Because they want a shorter commute, but they fit the rest of the profile. If we profiled 3009, we would probably get a similar profile. We would have some urban chics and Emerald City folks, right? And so that would kind of give us that experience. And so any of the ones that have the multiple people are your best targets. The ones with the green, just one green head, are okay targets. That's a 52.7% match from 30350 right up the street here, right?
Which is not Alpharetta or Atlanta, but that's all right.
Norcross is a 50% match. And then the lighter green means you're under 50%. So you're at 44. See if we can find one that's really high. I can't think of one that would be. There's a 58, 30324, which makes a little sense because they're already
Right there.
they're in-towners, and so you're just kind of moving laterally. And you can see as we click on each one of these, all of this data down here shows up. Now, how could you leverage this? This is all well and good and looks fancy, and I can say, "Ooh, look, and I can click here and do this," right? Well, what does it do? What can I use? How can I win a listing with it as opposed to just trying to look smart?
So it gives you direction as to where you're gonna market the property.
It gives you direction where you want to market the property, right? So I can go, okay, let's close that, maybe. I'm going to zoom in some more, and I'm going to say, okay, I think personally, from my experience, 30324 is probably a great target for us to look at. And here's part of the reason why. Because you'll notice the average family size is smaller and the homes with children is less than what we had when we did the analysis of your neighborhood, or my neighborhood in this case. As they get more children, they look for other areas that they might want to be in, which makes them fit better in our neighborhood. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, we're just looking at statistics here. Now, the other things that we can talk about. These people tend to most visited websites, Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Can I leverage that information? So one of the things that I'm going to do with your house to make sure that it gets in front of these people is, now that I know what our kind of target range of income and target range and those sorts of things from our buyer profile is, I'm actually going to place a Facebook ad. And I'm going to target only 30324. I'm only going to target people that have college degrees. I'm only going to target people in their, mid to 30s to late 40s. I'm only going to target people because I can do all of that on Facebook. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I can specifically create an ad that puts your house in front of these prospective buyers, which gives you about a 58% chance of one of them being interested in buying your home. Does that make sense? Do you think that's going to help sell your home faster and more successfully for more money than what other agents are going to do?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. That, nice response.
Good answer.
All right. So that gives you kind of your buyer profile section. Okay. So this was where we were, and you can see all the buyer profile stuff, and you can map that. And that's how we went. Everybody good?
Good.
On to the next one is the CB Intelligence Report. The CB Intelligence Report shows us where, what the different factors, the vacant housing, the average value of the occupied homes, and you can see in 2019 they're estimating it's going to go up to 482, which in 2014 it was 421. The growth rates of the population, the households, median household income, families, those sorts of things, and averages for these sorts of things. I don't think clicking on that does anything, but if we go to map layers, we can say, okay, let's say we want to see change in total population. Here's my change in total population map. Okay, and I can zoom in, and it's going to show me the change in total population. And so this is 0, with the greenish colors being growing. Interestingly enough, looks to me anyway, that I'm shrinking. And if you zoom in too much, it makes the map go away. There's just a slight, because it doesn't want you to be too, obviously it's not 1000% accurate. There you go. So you really can't get any closer than that. Okay. But that gives you an idea I mean, DeKalb County, which is basically this section, is more yellowy than green, whereas Fulton County and Gwinnett County are more green because they've got more people moving into them than DeKalb.
Well, historic, I'm sure.
Well, will that be a housing stock issue?
It could be.
I mean, they're not building a lot of stuff in Decatur.
But-
Well, but DeKalb County has just as much build as Fulton County does. As far as, single family homes and stuff.
Mm.
I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Not necessarily down in Decatur, although there's a couple big ones, but like out and around there's a fair amount of. Now, yes, are there as many new construction starts in DeKalb as there are in Gwinnett? No, at the moment they're not. There's a ton more, and there have been a ton more because there's a lot more land in Gwinnett. But I would think you got to get further out over here to really be able to see a massive impact of that compared to, like in although Norcross still has quite a bit of new construction in the last number of years as well. So we go back to our map layers and we can pick, average income. So you can see the average income and you can see the dark blues, the little bit lighter blues, and the lighter blues, and the really light blues, and you can kind of get a feel for, okay, so if we're targeting people that have an average household income of, similar to us, we're going to be targeting these. Spending money to target these neighborhoods, probably not overly effective because they don't fit kind of the general profile of the area. You can also look at homes occupied by renters, and you can see, there we go. You can see, percentage of homes occupied by renters. The area that the home is in is relatively just north of it is not. And again, these are data points that it depends on the property. It depends on kind of how you expect to sell it, what aspect you expect to go. If you know that, for instance, we knew that this area over here is 30324, we know that that's a prime target according to the search, that the system has told us that's a prime target. And one of the interesting things is that that's a higher level of renters in there percentage-wise, right? And so, or homes occupied by renters is higher in that area. So I can customize a marketing campaign where I can go into Cole Realty, pull 30324, and pull renters, and call people that are renting houses. And I'm going to manually call, and I will give you the update and tell you how many there are. I don't have it pulled at the moment, or you could pull it before you go if that's what you're planning on doing. There are 3,480 renters listed in 30324 or whatever that are in single family homes or that are in apartments. And you can target those and go towards that aspect. Okay, and that gives you the map layers. You can also then map the neighborhood, slowly but surely, and this gives you that. Remember this is the colors, and so we click on that. This is the urban chic is the top segment for this green patch here, whereas the blue section over here, blue section over here. Oh yeah, that's the blue section. Are metro renters. Majority of people in that area. Let's click on Dunwoody. Dunwoody is the top tier, the orange. And for William there in the back, we'll click on Sandy Springs. They are Emerald City folks. That's right there, Sandy Springs, Emerald City. Yeah, but I know, it says Atlanta for all of them. I know. But it's that area.
You're in Emerald City.
You live in the Emerald City. You buy.
Whoopee.
Actually, you probably live up here, which is young and restless.
Oh.
That fits right in with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, ladies first.
So, and let's see what the purple is. The purple is Knee West residents.
Yeah.
Or New West?
Whatever that means.
Why the W is capitalized, it makes me pronounce it weird, but I would say it's newest residents. So this is big growth area, right? Which it is. Big growth, people moving in from outside the state, outside the country are moving in that area. And so you can see that kind of stuff. But again, it just gives you a better concept to understand how to market towards, towards these types of people. If we know, for instance, that this house is an extremely lush landscape, it's got an oversized backyard, it's just that kind of outdoorsy type experience. If you look here, the Tucker folks are considered Parks and Rec people. So if I can find the right price point, income point in that area, I could specifically market the fact that it's a lush environment to that area. Does that make sense? I can manage my marketing pieces specifically for. So that pretty much shows us everything. I mean, I haven't clicked all of these. We saw that one, I think, already. The households that change hands. So there's a lot of activity there in the middle, nearby. So, any questions?
Cool.
Pretty simple tool to use. The key is delivery. The key is, how do I present? That's where your expertise comes in. That's where the specific property type comes in, right? Because you've got to know what those aspects are. If we go back to the buyer profile and map the buyer profile, and we zoom in, and we pick, maybe a different area down here, you'll notice that this 30312, their most visited website is Facebook, Google, and YouTube. So again, you can target online marketing for that specific area. Online marketing is a much easier way to target, right? And cost-effective way to target. We're not going to mail postcards to all of 30312, right? Now, if we had one that said it was 100% match, yes, we might. Might not be a bad idea. You'll notice the top media types, the favorite TV formats, favorite radio formats, most frequently online activities, so they read and send emails, make online purchases in banking, and the number of real estate searches in the last 30 days searched more than 16 times in this particular one.
George, we'll write this.
So in Snellville, if you go way out to Snellville, right, it shows it's only been searched 1 to 5 times in the last 30 days.
And I'll be there tomorrow.
So it was you.
JP and I did this, and you have to spend some time with it, because you got a limit. You'll blow the person's mind and they'll tell you to leave.
Right.
It's so much data.
It is
So
an overwhelming amount of information.
You need to put it and practice it with somebody and see what they say, because it was crazy on the one we did on Rush's house. Because it's way too much data for the seller.
So you gotta focus.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's like anything, this is a new tool.
But it's stuff that
And
you
so
couldn't
until you
get.
can utilize it, until you can practice it and understand it, and let me go back and show you one
But
thing.
it's one of those things that the more you use it,
Better you get at it.
well, the more you're gonna understand what people are gonna respond to.
Right.
And
So you'll notice here, what I did is view now, the RPR. And so what it did is it gave me, as of 9/14, it thinks it's worth that. It gave me a range of that, and the change in the last month was up, and the estimated change in the last 12 months was up, and it gives me just this property, and it gives me the zip code price point, okay? And so you can just use this price, and it pops that price right in there. Now, obviously, you can change that price manually and put whatever price you want in there, as I would recommend. You can also make the adjustments as they showed in the
Who controls those prices?
What's that?
Who controls the adjustment price?
You do.
you do.
It's manual. I just click in there and I'll say, I'm going to say minus 15,000 because my kitchen is original. Bathrooms, I have 3 of them. They are all original. So I'm going to say maybe $5,000 a piece. So I'm going to take another 15,000 off. Okay. My pool, I don't have one, so we're going to leave that alone. Garage, the garage is a garage. And is there anything else that I think I should take value off for? I don't know. Because I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put type. Whoops. I don't know how to use the iPad. Type. And I'm going to say probably going to take off around 10% because it's a split level. Okay?
Now, just curious, are you taking off the split because there's not a lot of splits in that area?
No, I'm just making that up.
Oh, okay.
So kind of behooves me.
I wouldn't take $40,000 off because it's a split level, because there are a lot of splits in that area,
Okay.
and it is a very common home style in the area, so it doesn't really get negatively hit.
Okay.
But if I look at trying to pull buyers out of not 30324, because there are plenty of splits there too, but other areas that don't have splits, then I might have to give it a little bit of a knockdown. And I might start with the RPR price just to have some basis for where that number came from, and then be able to go in and say, okay, we made the adjustments, and we go from there. And so then I just hit save and continue, and now it's there. And so now my suggested list price is $360, and if I hit price info, it'll show me what I did to adjust that, so I can explain that in the presentation.
So there's an importance of an agent having knowledge about what the adjustments
Absolutely.
really are. So that
Absolutely.
you can go into a neighborhood.
But
and say,
remember, when we go into preview the presentation, I didn't do it there. Oops. Hold on. Yeah, that's all there. I like to do it this way. When I launch the presentation, and it's got all the things in there, I can go on price info, I can talk about that, and I can say, okay, let's talk about why we got to this price. Part of the reason is we need to look at the comps. And you know what the comps are, right? You know the best comp for this house is, say, whoops, this one, okay? This house right here on 1316 Vista Leaf, you notice how close it is, right? It's right around the corner from you. Here's some more information on it. And you can pull out, your listing sheet, pictures, whatever else that you want to provide on it, okay? What's another thing that you could do with this that I'm not hearing enough of? But in this scenario, if I were to say, okay, so we've got an active up here at 489, we've got one in the neighborhood at 549, we got one over here in a different neighborhood only at 212, but of course that's a townhouse, so we wouldn't want to consider that. But here's one on Council Bluff at 529. What should I do?
You as an agent?
As an agent,
That'd be
with
able-
my seller.
That'd be able to explain why there's that discrepancy in price.
Okay, I might be able to explain why that discrepancy in price, but what could I do better than explaining it?
Show it to them.
Show it to them. Say, okay, so there's this one, and this one are the closest comps that are even remotely similar to your home. And so what I would like to do is, let's get in the car. I've got appointments to go see them over the next hour. Let's get in the car and go see them. Now all of a sudden, instead of we're sitting at the table looking at theoretical data, we're walking through other people's houses, right? And I've got those appointments lined up. I'm ready to go. My appointment to do the listing presentation was at 11 o'clock. I've got from 11:15 or 11 to 12 or 11 to 1:30 or whatever I think I'm going to need as a window of I'm going to come show your house. When it's vacant, obviously it's easy. If it's not, whatever, we're going to get that set up, right? Because that's going to give me the opportunity to walk in the house and say, okay, so here's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's smaller than yours. Mine's 3,000 square feet. Of course, a bunch of that is basement because it's a split level. I just ignore that. I'm like every other homeowner, right? My house is a castle. But This house is obviously built significantly more recently than my house. It's an infill piece. So let's go in and look at it. Let's go in and see what it feels like comparatively to yours. Because this is the competition. You got somebody at 489, they've got 4 bedrooms and 3 baths, just like you do. Let's go in and see what's the feel, what's the difference. What could we do to make ours feel better? And one of the ways we can do that is price, right? Because our suggested list price is clearly not 489. It's 360 at the moment, which is low, but whatever. That's the kind of stuff that you can use this to leverage with. You can use this for the data portion of your listing presentation instead of the stacks of paper, right? Because if I, for instance, had, which I don't know how quickly I could pull off on this machine, not knowing it very well, if I had my matrix pulled up, make that go away. I'm not going to be able to do that on here.
Can you email this to the owner after you've done the presentation?
Yes. So I could log right into FMLS right here, and I could have those comps already pulled up in a search and saved as a cart for that person. Oops, sorry. Here's a tip. If you're using your iPad, lock the screen rotation.
Yeah.
So you could go right into that. And then if you double click, whoops, you can go right over to the other piece, and you can say, okay, so we're going to look at a couple of these solds, and we're going to look at a couple of these actives that are most like yours. You can see that there's been a ton of activity in the neighborhood, but for instance, this particular one is most recently sold and most recently like yours. So let's go in and look at the data, and you switch over and look at the FMLS live data for it. Does that function?
I'm going to ask my question again.
Okay.
Can you email this?
This
Because you
particular
suggested
piece,
you don't have
yes.
to leave any paper, but.
So
it'd
if
be nice
I
to
go
leave something.
into edit, I can export this, and I can do it as a PDF,
Okay.
or I can do it as individual JPEGs. If I do the complete PDF, I can put all the stuff on there. Oh, one of those top 3 matches per county. How about top 5 matches per county? So we can increase that. And then I can hit export, and it creates the PDF, and I can email it right to them. Okay? Because I don't know iPads. If it was on my tablet slate, I could know where that went. It's on here somewhere.
It's still exporting.
Oh, is it?
It's still in process.
Oh, okay, sorry. Like, I don't even know where that would go. on
Read
this
the fine print.
machine. So,
There it goes.
yeah, so here you go. So now it pulls right up. I can just type in right here and send it. It's going to, of course, send from the email off of this system, which happens to be my daughter's, which is probably not what I would want it to do, but in this case, that would be the option. So I can cancel that.
No, only use it on your device and not your kids' devices.
Yes, or make sure your email profile is set up on your kid's device. Right? I'm just glad none of the little game notifications have popped up. Because when I was working on it earlier trying to connect, it kept popping up with like Subway Surfer or something. I'm like, what the? Anyway, you know, this is why you should use your device and have one. You know, and obviously an iPad has its functionality and it works for these sorts of things. You can use a Droid tablet, you can use a Windows slate. It doesn't matter. It all works now, which is great, because for a long time, CBX only worked on the iPad. So now it's available on everything.
Yeah, and I emailed Leslie on Friday, I guess it was, and asked her, what about Kindle, because it's storage, and she said, yeah, you can do it on Kindle.
It should.
And there's a $49 Kindle now, so, you know, it's
true.
cheap, you can have one in your briefcase, it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a tablet for under $100, especially a Droid one. You can get a Droid tablet for under $100, just like that, and it's perfectly functional and viable. You know, yes, it doesn't do 100,000 things, and it doesn't have the super duper XMOL video and but who cares? You know, it does what you need it to do. I would suggest if you're going to be presenting it on this, bigger is better. Trying to present it on an iPad mini with a couple of people. Here, let me show you how this goes. You know, might be a little challenging. With a Droid based system, you could always use Chromecast to show it on a TV. Depending on your technological capability, you know can easily install. I mean, the Apple TV device. If I can get it to come above the TV here without shutting it off. No, it's totally too tight. And now it's shut off. There we go. Is literally just nice. It's just a little box, and it just sits behind the TV on this one. The Chromecast is literally just a little HDMI plug-in that plugs into an HDMI port on the TV. So I happen to know the HDMI ports are right here. I could just reach right here with Chromecast, plug it in, and be able to cast whatever's on my tablet onto that. So, you know, it depends on what people have and why they have different cables.
And that Chrome thing is only what, $30?
Yeah, it's super cheap.
And they put it on sale frequently.
Make my Apple TV connect again. Ta-da! It's almost like I know what I'm doing.
And it's Apple.
It's Apple. See, I can support Apple stuff. I'm a big fan of it, but I can do.
There's a couple of charts you can use. If you have a client and you're trying to get a price reduction, there's a couple of good charts to use in a presentation to get them to reduce the price.
The map layers or the, which ones?
I forget, but we did it.
And you can't bring it up and not tell us. what
Well, no,
you're
I'm just saying, if in fact you're trying to get a price reduction, there's a
Right.
couple charts in here that would help you do that in expressing to your client what's going on. The other comment is, if you have a listing and you want to practice this thing, pull it up for one of your listings
Sure.
and go show it to them and see what their reaction is.
Yeah.
And that'll help you figure out which pages to use in your listing presentation.
No, absolutely. And as always, I mean, the things that you know, the clients that you have the strongest relationship with, you should be the first to practice on. So if you've got a current seller that you feel very comfortable with and have a very strong connection with and aren't afraid of going in and looking stupid or like you don't know what you're doing, then go in and do this. Yeah, absolutely. I would do this for every single listing you have, just as practice. You know, and the other thing about that is when you exit it, they all show right here. So if you go into a presentation and you start on this screen, what does that do, right?
Shows everything.
Shows you've got all these, and it shows all the dates of, you know, now you can't create them all the same day because then somebody's going to say, oh, look, you made them all the same day. You had to like, yeah, well, you know, it was a busy day. I don't know. So, but it's all about perception and things that you can do. You can, of course, delete it from here. And then to add a presentation, as you saw in the little thing, is super easy. You just click in here and put in the whatever, you know, the name, address, city, state, zip, and you can also add beds and baths right there if you want. Square footage. Do you think this is something that you could use out in the field with a little practice that would distinguish you from the masses of averageoids out there?
Oh, absolutely.
So here's the big question. This has been my epiphany lately. Absolutely, this is a tool that would separate you from the rest of the masses. It would get you more business, get you more listings. Of course, you have to get in front of people to be able to use it. Will you use it?
Yeah.
How many of you will commit that the next listing presentation you do, you will use this tool?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, there you go. All good. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I want to hear feedback on how it goes, and you know, it's one of those things. The more we use it, the better off it works, and the more we can understand it.